Pluto is exalted due to the station phase. So that means whenever a planet is exalted, we feel it stronger. It's just going to be a little bit louder, right? And Pluto is not just louder because it's exalted. It also is conjunct Jupiter in Capricorn. So that will also make it a little bit more intense. And both of these planets make a square to the full moon in that Libra Aries polarity. So this creates a T-square between the sun on one end, the moon on the other end, and then Pluto, Jupiter on the top. And this is really inviting us to make some adjustments and find creative ways to work with the energies at play right now. So what are these energies? So on the one hand, right, we are aware of the importance of collaboration and playing nice, which is that moon in Libra. On the other hand, we see that following our inner compass and taking care of our own needs is really essential as well, right? So kind of like making sure that we're taking care of number one here, right? That's Aries. Now, at the same time as we're trying to figure out that balance, we're also feeling a very strong pull to be authentic and truthful about our deepest desires and aspirations in connection with what we want to build long term and our standing in society. So that's that Capricorn stuff, right? That Pluto, Jupiter. And there's a lot of energy there, right? With like needing to see what's happening out there in the world, socially speaking, and with our social structures, with our economic structures. And all this places a lot of stress on that Jupiter-Pluto alignment in Capricorn. So we're definitely feeling the stress right now in regards to our social structures and economic structures and our long-term goals. Now, since Pluto represents the process of our deepest emotional empowerment or disempowerment, and the place where we align with our divine purpose, we may feel a little impatient or even obsessive right now about those career goals, those long-term goals, or our economic future. And so, in fact, we would be facing our worst fears right now. For some of us especially, right? So if you haven't been dealing with this Pluto and Capricorn energy over the last, since Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, basically, if you haven't really been dealing with it full on, and especially those last 2 years with, where we had also the South Node and Saturn in Capricorn as well, if you've been sort of like denying yourself this process of really looking at your worst fears and looking at what's underneath, what's in the depth and in the darkness of everything. What are the shadow places? What do I need to integrate or make conscious for myself, right? If we haven't been dealing with that right now, we're really going to be feeling these fears very strongly. Now, Jupiter magnifies what we're feeling, right? And Jupiter is right smack on top of Pluto right now. But it also helps us to a new perspective on the darker side of our own psyche, right? There's all these shadow sides. So we're getting an opportunity here really to look at a new perspective here. And humor, funnily enough, can be a wonderful way to explore all of this. So if you have the ability right now to tap into humor, whether that's your own humor, whether that's other people's humor, whether that's something funny that you want to watch, online or in the movies, or, we're not going to the movies, but Netflix or Amazon or on TV, right? Jupiter can be a great way for us right now to really engage with our own feeling process. So, and to make it more conscious. So ask yourself, what am I most scared about when it comes to my accomplishments right now, or when it comes to my standing in society right now? Am I allowing myself to hear the deepest calling of my soul? And again, that's an inner process, right? And so we're dealing with a lot of inner processes, which we need to really learn how to get comfortable doing those inner processes. If we're still fighting that, if we're still not willing to go within, if we're still looking for the outside world for answers, we're really missing the boat right now. So it's really, really important that we allow ourselves to hear the deepest calling of our inner soul, that soul calling, that soul purpose, right? What if, and another question here is also, what if I already have within me precisely that which would most help me accomplish what that deepest desire is? And if that were so, what might that be? If it's already within me, if I don't have to look outside of me, if I don't have to need to wait for the answer, what if it's already there, right? And if I just have to kind of tune in. And of course, whenever we're dealing with a T-square, right, there is always an empty leg. And the empty leg is the opposite side of the focus point, which in this case, the empty leg would be in Cancer, because the focus point is Pluto, Jupiter in Capricorn. So the empty leg would be in a later degree of Cancer. So we're invited to empower ourselves at home with loved ones, to focus on self-care. This is also an invitation to balance our obsessions around an empowered career with our focus on getting plenty of rest, healthy nourishment, and affection. So ask yourself here, what would a powerful approach to self-care look like at home at this time, with family, or elsewhere? What does that powerful approach to self-care look like for me personally? And how might nurturing myself support my self-connection? It is so important right now that we're connected to ourselves, because if we abandon ourselves right now, we're really going to experience tremendous fear and chaos. We're not going to be able to handle the changes that are currently on their way. So how might nurturing myself support my self-connection and my connection to others or to the world at large? And how might it support my career ambitions or my standing in society? What if self-care was the very first step towards meaningful achievement currently, right now in my life? And then another thing that popped up today, right before I was doing this video, was the word self-soothing, which came up in a coaching session today. So ask yourself, what does self-soothing mean to me? This is very personal, right? Because we all have a very different approach to self-soothing. And each one of us might do this differently. Some of us might never do it. But I want you to just think about, what would that look like for me if I were to engage in a process of self-soothing? And how could I nurture myself to the point that I'm at once connected to others and yet completely independent? And that's sort of like really going to create that balance between that Aries and Libra polarity as well. So really use the word self-soothing and maybe journal on that or meditate on that if you're not really clear on what that is for you. Just see what pops up, right? With these questions, it's not about having the answers. It's really more about the engaging in the process of finding the answers or allowing the answers to come to you, right? To just investigate. All right, so if you have any questions about the monthly forecasting forums, about memberships, about astrology in general, about my soul-based astrology courses, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or to my assistant at info@astrologercoach.com. We're happy to support you in whichever way we can. If you have any personal questions, please ask them during the monthly forecasting forum, or you can also book a one-on-one reading with me via Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, phone, whichever works best for you. And of course, you can book those on my website at astrologercoach.com. And if you're a star member, you also get a discount for those readings. All right. So have a good one. Much love to all of you. Namaste. And stay healthy, stay strong, stay centered, stay safe, and keep tuning in if that's what supports you. All right. Much love. Bye-bye.